The cell is 7 feet by 12 feet. No windows. A concrete slab with a thin mattress. A stainless steel sink and toilet combination bolted to the wall. Fluorescent light, always on, buzzing quietly in the silence. Joaquin Guzman wakes each morning in near total darkness, the light filtered through a narrow slot in the steel door. There is no clock, no calendar visible, no voice to greet him. The air is still, the walls are soundproof. This is ADX Florence, the most secure federal prison in the United States. And this is where one of the most powerful criminals in modern history will spend the rest of his life alone. For decades, Joaquin Guzman was known by another name, El Chapo, the head of the Sinaloa Cartel, one of the largest and most violent drug trafficking organizations the world has ever seen. His empire moved cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, and marijuana across continents. His organization was responsible for immeasurable suffering, thousands of deaths, corruption that reached the highest levels of government. But El Chapo was also known for something else: escape. Twice, he broke out of maximum security prisons in Mexico. Once through a tunnel dug beneath his cell, once hidden in a laundry cart. His ability to evade capture, to manipulate systems, to command loyalty even from behind bars, became legend. But on January 17, 2017, that legend ended. He was extradited to the United States, and on July 17, 2019, he was sentenced to life in prison plus 30 years. No possibility of parole, no hope of release. The judge ordered him to the administrative maximum facility in Florence, Colorado. ADX Florence, the end of the line. The arrival is designed to strip away identity. Guzman was flown in under heavy guard, shackled at the wrists, waist, and ankles. He was processed in silence, photographed, fingerprinted. His belongings, what little he had, were catalogued and removed. His clothes were replaced with a standard issue jumpsuit. He was given a number. He became an inmate. ADX Florence is not like other prisons. It was built specifically to isolate, to contain, to neutralize. It houses approximately 400 inmates, many of them convicted terrorists, cartel leaders, mass murderers, and those who have proven too dangerous or to escape prone for any other facility. The architecture itself is a weapon: thick concrete walls, automated doors, surveillance cameras in every corridor. Inmates are kept in their cells 23 hours a day, sometimes more. There is no general population, no cafeteria, no yard time with others. Every movement is controlled, every interaction is minimized. For Guzman, this was the first time in his adult life that he had no power, no network, no leverage. If you want to understand more cases like this, cases where the punishment is not just confinement, but erasure, stay with us, because what happens inside ADX Florence is not widely known, and what it does to the human mind is something most of us will never experience. The daily routine is identical, monotonous, crushing in its predictability. Guzman wakes in his cell. The lights never fully turn off, so sleep is fragmented, shallow. There is no sunrise to mark the passage of time, no sounds from outside. Meals are delivered through a slot in the door. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. The food is edible, but bland. Eaten alone, in silence. The trays are slid in, then removed. There is no conversation. No thank you, no acknowledgement. Between meals, there is nothing. Some inmates are allowed books. Some have access to a small black and white television, bolted to the wall, with a limited selection of channels. Some are given a radio, but these privileges are earned, and they can be taken away. The hours stretch, minutes feel longer. The mind, deprived of stimulation, begins to turn inward. Once a day, Guzman is allowed out of his cell. Not into open air, not into a yard with grass or sky. He is taken, in handcuffs, to a small concrete enclosure, 10 feet by 10 feet. Walls rise 15 feet high. There is a metal grate overhead, through which a narrow sliver of sky is visible. This is recreation. He can walk in circles, he can do push-ups. He can stare at the sky, but he is alone. There are no other inmates, no conversation, no human contact. After 1 hour, he is returned to his cell, the door closes, the lock engages, and the silence resumes. Showers are 3 times a week. He is escorted by guards, shackled, to a small shower stall. He is given a few minutes. The water is lukewarm. He is watched, then he is returned. The process is efficient, clinical. There is no privacy, no dignity in the routine. It is survival, nothing more. The psychological impact of this environment is well documented. Solitary confinement, especially prolonged solitary confinement, has been shown to cause severe mental deterioration. Anxiety, depression, paranoia, hallucinations. Time distortion is one of the first symptoms. Without natural light, without routine human interaction, the brain loses its ability to track days. Weeks blur together. Months become indistinguishable. Some inmates at ADX Florence have reported losing the ability to remember what day it is, what month, even what year. The isolation creates a kind of sensory deprivation. The mind, desperate for stimulation, begins to create it. Voices that aren't there, shadows that move. A creeping sense of unreality. For Guzman, a man who once controlled thousands, who moved freely across borders, who lived in luxury and commanded fear, this is a complete inversion. He has no control, no influence, no audience. His name, once whispered with reverence or terror, means nothing here. The guards do not fear him. They do not respect him. They do not know him. To them, he is simply another inmate, another number, another body to move through the system. And that, perhaps, is the most devastating part? Not the isolation, not the silence, but the irrelevance. There are no interactions with other inmates. The cells are designed to prevent it. Soundproofing ensures that voices do not carry. Even if Guzman were to shout, it is unlikely anyone would hear him. There are no common areas, no group activities, no work programs. ADX Florence is not designed for rehabilitation. It is designed for containment, for removal. The logic is simple. If an inmate cannot interact with the outside world, cannot communicate with criminal networks, cannot plan escapes or attacks, then they are neutralized. But the cost of that neutralization is borne entirely by the mind. Guards at ADX Florence are trained to maintain distance. Conversations are brief, professional. There is no rapport, no familiarity. Requests are logged. Responses are procedural. If Guzman asks for something, a book, a letter, medical attention, it is processed through official channels. There is no immediacy, no human warmth. The relationship is transactional. He is an inmate. They are staff. The boundary is absolute. Medical care exists, but it is minimal. Mental health resources are available, but many inmates refuse them. There is a stigma, even in isolation, to admitting psychological distress. And there is a deeper problem. How do you treat a mind that is being systematically deprived of the very things it needs to function? Social contact, sensory variety, purpose, meaning. The environment itself is the pathology, and there is no escape from it. ADX Florence is unique not because of its security measures, though those are extreme, but because of its deliberate use of isolation as a permanent condition. Other Supermax facilities exist, but most rotate inmates in and out. ADX Florence is different. Many of its inmates will die there. They will never leave. They will never see the outside world again. They will never touch another human being without restraints. They will never have a conversation that is not monitored. They will never feel wine on their face or rain on their skin. They will grow old in a 7 by 12-foot cell, watching the walls, counting the days, until the days stop meaning anything at all. Experts in prison psychology have described ADX Florence as a form of psychological torture. The United Nations has stated that prolonged solitary confinement, defined as more than 15 consecutive days, can constitute cruel and inhumane treatment. Guzman has been in isolation for years, and he will remain there for the rest of his life. The human brain is not designed for this. It is designed for connection, for movement, for change. Deprive it of those things, and it begins to break down. Some inmates withdraw entirely, becoming catatonic. Others become violent, lashing out at guards, at themselves. Others simply fade. They stop eating, stop speaking, stop caring. They disappear from the inside out. Guzman's sentence included a forfeiture of $12.6 billion. His assets, his properties, his accounts, all seized. His family, scattered. His organization, fractured and weakened. His legacy, reduced to a series of court transcripts and documentary footage. And yet, in some parts of Mexico, his name is still spoken, not with fear, not anymore, but with a strange kind of nostalgia. Folk songs, narcocorridos, are still written about him. His image appears on t-shirts. His story is told and retold, mythologized, exaggerated. But the man himself, the real Joaquin Guzman, is invisible. Locked away in a place designed to make him disappear. There is no redemption arc here, no transformation, no moment of clarity where the weight of his crimes is acknowledged and atoned for. ADX Florence does not offer that. It offers nothing, just time, endless, formless time. And in that time, the mind erodes. Memory becomes unreliable. Identity becomes fragile. The person you were, the life you lived, it all begins to feel distant, unreal, like a story someone else told you once, a long time ago. The long-term psychological outlook for inmates in prolonged solitary confinement is bleak. Studies show permanent cognitive impairment, difficulty concentrating, memory loss, emotional numbness. The damage is not always reversible, even if the isolation ends. But for Guzman, the isolation will not end. He will die in that cell, or in one very much like it. The outside world will continue. Seasons will change, governments will rise and fall. The drug trade will evolve, new cartels will emerge. New kingpins will be captured. And none of it will touch him. He will be a footnote, a case study, a name in a file. There is something deeply unsettling about this form of punishment, not because it is physically brutal, though the conditions are harsh, but because it is so quiet, so total. It erases a person not by destroying their body, but by severing every connection that makes them human. No family visits in the traditional sense. Communications are monitored, restricted, often denied. No community, no purpose, no future, just existence, breathing, waiting, for nothing. The concrete walls of ADX Florence do not echo. They absorb sound, movement, life. Joaquin Guzman sits in his cell. The fluorescent light hums. The air is still. Time passes, but there is no way to measure it. No marker, no milestone, just the endless, unchanging present. And in that present, he is alone, completely, irreversibly, alone.